So this is a question on where should I put my money is I've maxed out my retirement accounts. Is there any way or creative ways to build more wealth for retirement?
Creative ways. I don't, you know, as money managers, and dealing with clients' assets and dealing with, the basically somebody's mostly their whole net worth, their life savings. I wouldn't say we get too creative personally. What we would look at there, so somebody has maxed out their contribution to 401ks and or IRAs or even backdoor Roths or any of those things that that are possible. Um, then you're left with really two big asset classes, tax free, which you can't really do if you're maximizing out. That'd be your Roths, and then taxable accounts. So that's what we would look at in a standard situation is just starting to build up taxable accounts. We've talked about this many times on the show, but we're huge believers that of those three buckets, that's the one that tends to be the weakest is people's liquid assets that are outside of these retirement plans. Gives them plenty of flexibility, gives them ability to pay taxes on their Roth conversions, gets them a chance to live off of that taxable asset at a lower tax rate because they've already paid taxes on some of it, and the rest might be at long-term capital gains rates and all of these things. So if somebody's maxed out their retirement plan contributions, I'd really like to see some of that money going towards these taxable accounts. Just a regular brokerage account. You can buy anything you want with that. Just buy regular index funds, buy the S&P 500, whatever it is that you want to do. You can buy the total bond market index if you so desire. Put it in, money markets and savings and making sure that you have enough emergency cash built up. So those are all things that I think are interesting. But when you say creative, there's a whole bunch of things that people are doing that are working quite well. It's not things we get involved with. Collectibles are one area that I have seen a lot within my clientele, whether it's coins, cars, or art. Those are seen to be the biggest ones, or even wine, actually. That's an area where we've seen some pretty big growth in the value of the bottles of wine somebody has. And unfortunately, I have yet to see any of those situations result in supporting a retirement. So people aren't selling a car every year to support their retirement because they love the car. That's why they have it. Maybe they're trading or doing different things, but they're still staying within that hobby. I don't see people, selling their wine bottles off to support their retirement. So it is something you would do, honestly, right? If everything fell apart, you'd sell some of your collectibles if you had to, pay your bills or put food on the table. I just haven't seen it, but there are a lot of different, creative ways of where you might put money.
Yeah, I think one thing we missed was real estate.
Mhm.
That's one way people create wealth is just real estate. Maybe it's an investment property or
Mhm.
rental property,
Yeah.
or make an Airbnb,
Yep.
and that could be steady income that you can use in retirement.
Yeah, that's a good
Um,
point.
Yeah, and a lot of the passion collections, it's hard. I think a lot of people collect it for that passion, and it's hard selling a piece of your collection. You
Hmm.
become emotionally attached to it.
Yeah.
But I know some people, done really well in the sneaker game,
Yeah.
and they've sold and they've put down payments on houses in
Yeah.
like more lower cost of living areas because they've done so well with it.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, whatever it takes for housing as far as that goes. But that's a good point. Real estate would be one of the areas to definitely take a look at. We've had some clients that are unbelievably successful in their retirements, and they have an awful lot of money coming in from, their rental incomes. And so, you buy the right house in the right place, you're going to get a decent income from it, plus get some appreciation if it works out right. It can be hard to do because it usually takes a fair amount of capital to save up to get there, but it is something that worth looking at. That's for sure. That's a good area. You're right.